Hey guys, I'm gonna put up a three-part series that talks about my personal 9/11 collection. Um, just some various things that I've amassed: books, newspapers, and some various memorabilia. I'm gonna do the memorabilia today, the books next, and then the newspapers last. But anyways, to show you some fun stuff from my collection, I will start with some various memorabilia. So this guy is called Billy Blazes, as you see up top. I read this book called The Only Plane in the Sky, and in there it mentions that on the morning of 9/11, there was a firefighter who is set to be attending this release of a toy called Billy Blazes. I've tried to find the exact model from that day that was being released, and I have not been successful. So I did find one, however, that was made after 9/11, and the proceeds, I believe, went to this fund. And you can see, of course, there are the towers on the back. So that's just kind of a neat little small piece of history there. Then this next thing you can see is a men's and women's memorial watch with the towers there. It comes with these, I got this on eBay. It came with these two cards that mentions that there were two American businessmen who were overseas on the day, but they wanted to do something to mark it, so they made these watches. And then the next you can see here, if you look in the background above ground zero, you can see this huge mural that's up above the site. And this is actually a cutout from that mural, and this is the autograph from the guy that created it. I think his name was Yakov Smirnov. And then, of course, Windows on the World Restaurant was up, if I'm not mistaken, 107th floor of the North Tower, I believe. They have a lot of different matchbooks available. That's the one that I have. And this is kind of neat. These are cutouts from a magazine. You can see in the back somebody just cut them out, so they're not photocopied or anything. These are legit. But it's advertisements for Windows on the World, and then this other bar called Wild Blue that I believe was up top as well. So that's kind of neat. Then some of the other stuff that I've got. This is probably my favorite little random piece of memorabilia. This is, if you'll remember, George Bush was reading at I believe it was the M&T Booker Elementary School in Florida when he learned of the attacks, and Andy Card whispered into his ear that a plane had hit the North Tower. And he was reading this book called The Pet Goat. So right here on page 150, 153. So he was likely reading one of these pages when he learned about the attack. So that's kind of a neat little, as my friend called it, a deep cut. Pretty going down the rabbit hole in terms of memorabilia. Anyways, excuse me. This is another piece called A Day to Remember. They have a few of these available. It's just got a nice timeline of the events, this gold card, this gold coin. Kind of a fun little thing to have. And then some of my favorite items, too, are some comics. If I'm not mistaken, these are part of a collection, a series, 1 and 2. I believe, at least. Anyways, it's Artists Respond. One of them's by DC Comics. This other one is just another big comic book. They have more out there, which I'm going to collect, but it's what I got for right now. And then in terms of comics, I've got a couple more. This Moment of Silence by Marvel, actually. And then Heroes. So that's what I've got so far. Of course, I'm going to collect everything, but that's, I'll put up more videos later. These next magazines are quite well known, so I'm not going to spend too much time explaining what they are. I'm just going to show you what I have. You've probably seen these all over the internet if you're into collecting stuff about the day. Of course, it's very famous U.S. News right here. A little bit more rare or less well known, but obviously out there for people to find and collect. This is near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. There's this place called, it's Johnstown. I don't know if it's pronounced Johnstown or Johnston. I'm not sure. But anyway, so this is a magazine that came out really close to Shanksville, where obviously United 93 went down. Start moving into some Bin Laden territory. And then just these random magazines I found. I don't even know if they're spinoffs of something or just standalone, but this was too big to fit in a case, so I just have that out. And then they have many, many different pamphlets and brochures from the Twin Towers. These are the two that I have right now. You can see it. Of course, I'll be collecting a lot more. But that's part 1, so I'll upload part 2 right now.